Dabo Sweeney and Clemson off to a strong start for that 2025 recruiting class, and they picked up a big fish out of Virginia, another one out of that state. We got Jason Priester here from allclemsontigers.com. Please join him right there. Always appreciate Jason dropping by, breaking things down for us. Jason, we got Ari Watford, and I don't know much about him. That's why I'm calling on you. I do know when the numbers next to the recruiting rankings are really small, like single digits, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. And in an area of need at that. Clemson's a little thin at defensive end, particularly short on experience. They kind of need to hit on a couple of guys in this 2025 class. And, an excellent start with Ari Watford yesterday. Kind of a commitment out of the blue. I wasn't expecting it. I don't know if anybody else was, especially being on the heels of this. Clemson's got their big elite junior day coming up this weekend. He's set to be on campus. The coaches stopped by his high school and paid him a visit earlier in the week, and apparently that's when he told them that he was committing, and he went public yesterday. But, yeah, this is a big-time get. Another one out of the state of Virginia. They've got several of the top players in that state. He's big. He's long, athletic. He's 6'5", man. Clemson's kind of made a concerted effort to get bigger or more length on the edge. Last year they signed a couple guys who were 6'6", 6'7". Now they got another one 6'5". Probably needs to fill out a little bit. I think he weighs somewhere between 220, between 230. But man, he's a big time get. And it just keeps this recruiting class kind of humming right along. I think they got 8 commitments now. Depending on where you look, they're firmly inside the top 10. Depending on where you look, they're some of them. I think 1 or 2 places have them at number 5. I'm probably going to take one more in this class, and got some big names coming in this weekend too.
Yeah, as soon as I see the position, edge rusher, and then a projection that a guy could turn out to be elite, I think of 2 things. You talked about the range in regards to long arms, height, and then I also think explosion off the ball, because that's another thing. Just go get that guy that's got the football and just come off the edge as fast as you can. So he obviously has those attributes.
Absolutely. He's long, he's athletic, and he's got an explosive first step. He uses his hands well. I think he defends the run really well for a guy that's only played up through his junior season in high school and plays in. I don't consider myself this big time talent evaluator, but sometimes you can just cut on the film and he's a big time player. I think he's going to be really good at the next level.
So Dabo doing no favors for his old buddy Tony Elliott there in Virginia, although I don't know that Virginia's getting those players anyway. So they're going to go to Clemson. They're going to go to North Carolina, Ohio State, somewhere, Penn State, as it turns out. But, yeah, 4 of the 8 in the class from Virginia. Is that just coincidence?
Yeah, I actually got a text from a buddy of mine that said the same thing yesterday. Dabo's not doing his buddy Tony Elliott any favors. And my response was exactly what you said. Well, I mean, they're not getting those guys anyway. But, I don't know if it's a coincidence. 2 of those guys are teammates there at LCA, and Lynchburg, Gideon Davidson, Easton Ware, running back in the offensive lineman. It just depends on the class. Clemson's had some success in Virginia in the past. I think it just depends on the class, who's available and where they're at. But again, these are 4 of the best players in that state in this class, man. It is definitely nothing to overlook.
I don't think most people think of Virginia as being a top-end state in terms of talent, and it's not at the very top or anything close to that. But it's a top 7, 8, 10 state in the country. There's a lot of talent that comes out of that state on a regular basis.
Yeah, and let's not forget Juju Patterson, Clemson's only wide receiver commit in this class is from Virginia. I don't think he's rated by 24/7 yet, but he's another guy. If you turn on the film, man, he's got elite level speed. I don't know where he ranks as far as the players in Virginia, but I think he's an excellent addition to the wide receiver class, and another kid that comes from Virginia, man. I think they got 4 of them right now, if I'm not mistaken. 4 to 8 from Virginia.
So you mentioned a big recruiting weekend coming up. What are some of the highlights there?
Clemson holds their annual Elite Junior Day this weekend, one of the biggest recruiting events of the weekend. You know, they like to get the priority guys on campus, you know, one weekend in January or one Saturday in January. And that's this Saturday. And there's some big time names coming in, particularly, you know, along that offensive line. Clemson got off to a very slow start with its offensive line recruiting last year. Did not, you know, missed on a bunch of guys, did not get the results they were expecting. Dabo Sweeney makes a change at offensive line coach, and that went out and hired Matt Luke, and that's a hire that's already paying dividends. They're going to have several big-time offensive linemen on campus this weekend, highlighted by Davis Sanders, one of the top players in the class. Clemson's been in on him for a long time. He's probably the crown jewel target of this class, let's put it that way. Getting him on campus this weekend. 4-star Chauncey Gooden out of Tennessee. 4-star Mason Short out of Georgia, who is a former Alabama commit, just announced an offer from Clemson yesterday. And you got 4-star Braden Jacobs out of Buford there in Georgia. He's a guy that's been on campus several times over the past year. And there's a 3-star Gavin Blanchard from down in Florida who will also be here this weekend. Doesn't have an offer from Clemson yet, but you can tell they are placing a lot of emphasis on offensive line in this recruiting class. And it, you know, looking at this guest list kind of bears that out. Also going to get 5-star defensive end Elijah Griffith's going to be back out of Savannah this weekend. Bryce Davis, another edge rusher, he'll be there. And one defensive tackle target, Isaiah Campbell. Clemson's probably only going to take one more. They already have one in Amari Adams. And Campbell's a guy I could absolutely see ended up being a part of this class at some point. And I missed one of the offensive linemen earlier, Jalen Beckley, a 4-star out of Texas. He's a guy that has not been to Clemson since last summer, you know, living so far away. It made it hard for him to get back during the season. He's another guy that I think's just, when you have conversations with him, man, he just feels like the kind of kid Clemson targets and would fit right in there. Wouldn't shock me if he ultimately ended up being a part of the class either. It just feels like the perfect kind of fit when you think about Clemson's culture and, you know, the personality of this kid.
Folks, we appreciate if you give us a like and subscribe here at the Voice of College Football, and check out Jason's work at allclemsontigers.com. Jason, we appreciate you stopping by.
Yes, sir, man. I'll have a full list of all the names I know up on the site in the morning, allclemsontigers.com.